Hello, everyone. Welcome to Art segment with Priscilla Selby. And today, I want to ask you a question. Who told you that you must fight in that marriage? You know, we've been brought up with this ideology that it is a must to fight. Some of us, we have actually believed that there is nothing like a itch-free marriage. And by the time people are testifying or telling us that in their marriage they've not really fought with each other, we find it hard to believe. Some of us even believe that people that are doing all lovey-dovey, they are pretending. Let me tell you, a itch-free marriage is possible. A marriage without issue is possible. It is not everybody that fights in their marriage. When you know this, you know that if you are having a marriage where there is fight, where there is issue, then you have work to do. You have to sit up. You have responsibility to take care of. And the first thing you should do is to resolve within yourself that you must not fight anymore. And this will lead to the fact that you have to be 100% sacrificial. Let's go back to the altar of marriage. What did he say? He said, for this cause shall a man what? Leave his father and mother and cleave. There is a cleaving there. It is that cleaving that actually make you selfless. Because if you want to cleave, you have to let go of some things. If you want to cleave, you have to let go of yourself, of your ego, of your pride, of your ideologies. That moment where you tell yourself that you want to get married, you should know that what you are saying is that I'm about to let go of myself, accept somebody else, and treat them better than I'm treating myself. What did the Bible say? In the book of Peter, Peter said, wife, submit to your husband. Husband, love your wife. And there is a clause. It said, men love your wife as what? As Christ love the church. So as a man, if you want to love your wife as Christ loved the church, do you know how Christ loved the church? Jesus Christ died for the church while we were yet sinners. This means that there is nothing on earth that your wife will do that will make you get angry, because you are expected to love them even at the point of death, even if they don't deserve it. Because when Jesus Christ came, we did not deserve him sacrificing himself for us. And that is the way that you, as a husband, you ought to love your wife. So we are saying, okay, I want my wife to submit to me before I love her. You are in error already, because the church no sent Jesus Christ before he died for them. They didn't give a damn about him. In fact, there was nothing like the church. It was his death that created the church. So whatever excuse you are coming up with your wife, the answer is loving her unconditionally. Loving her unto the point of death. My husband will say, he said, if as a man, if you know the meaning of you loving your wife as Christ loved the church, then you will start crying. And that is the truth. Because that means you're not permitted to get angry at that. 1 Corinthians chapter 13 gave us the breakdown of that, so that love is not selfish. It gave us all the characteristics of love, that love does not think about itself. So you see that as a man, you have the responsibility of overlook whatsoever it is that is making you get annoyed with your wife, whatever it is that is bringing up that fight. You are in the place to overlook it, because you have a more constraining task to do, and that is loving her. Loving her despite her imperfection. Loving her despite her volatile tongue. Loving her despite her character. Loving her despite her abuse. Loving her despite her shortcoming. And by the time you zero your mind on the fact that your wife is supposed to submit to you, you will discover that nothing really will worth the fight. Nothing will bring up anything fighting again, because you are loving her. You are so busy loving her that you are not seeing any imperfection. Likewise, us lady, we are asked to submit to our husband in all things. those of you saying submission is not slavery, submission is not, I beg your pardon. The Bible said, submit in all things. All things. Mark the word, all things. That means in everything. See, the fact that we make excuse that, okay, I can submit in my body, but I can't submit my money. I can submit this, that means you are breaking something there. Your own responsibility is to submit, whether the husband love you or not, because the church submits to Christ. The church is not submitting to Christ because he loves. You are to submit in all things. So whether your husband loves you or not, the fact that you've agreed to get married to this person, the Bible expects that you should submit. That is the order of things, that you should give in your all. So, and because we are burdened with this, that you have to submit all things. Mark the word, all things. That is why we were also given the choice, the power of choice. That is why it is you that have the power to choose who to submit to. So because you are not expected to submit in some things and expect everything to go well, because the ordinance will be disturbed. So you have to submit in all things, but choose who you have to submit to. So by the time you choose somebody that will not take your submission for granted, you enjoy your marriage. By the time you choose somebody that will take your submission for granted, it's your loss. By the time you choose somebody out of temporary emotion, you know that this person is going to stand on you. You're already seeing the red flag on how this person is going to misuse the word submission on you, yet you went into it. It is your cross to bear. But whether that person is deserving it or not, the Bible has already given its own injunction on it, and that is, you should submit in all things. So you submit your salary, you submit this, you submit that, and the person is taking it for granted. My dear, you have to keep praying. If God can touch the person's heart, you understand. But for you to have an each-free marriage, you have to obey it and do your part. So men, you have to do your part by loving your wife 100%. In the woman, you have to do your part by submitting 100%. And also, you have to know that irrespective of, sometimes we'll be doing our part, expecting the other person to do our part. And that is one big reason why we have fights in our marriage. You have to learn that it is your part that you should learn that your part alone is sufficient for your marriage. So by the time I'm submitting to my husband, I'm not expecting him to love me. By the time he's loving me, he's not expecting me to submit. And when you have this mindset of not expecting the other person to perform their duty, and that your own duty is enough for both of you, you discover that your marriage will be heaven on earth. Because you're not expecting anything. You've made yourself vulnerable. You've actually given your all to that person. So each free marriage is possible. And it starts with you being intentional. You telling yourself that all those ideologies that I will not take finish from any man, I will not take finish from any woman, has to end with you. Some of us, before we even get married, we have already laid down what we are going to do. We have already put up so many posts for the person that is going to come. And by the time the person is not standing, well, the person will just fall down. Because we've actually set out so many expectations. She must cook for me every day. She must wash my clothes. He must give me breakfast in bed. He must satisfy me this way. And by the time you're not getting this stuff, you start having issues upon issues. Today, know that each free marriage is possible. A marriage without fight is possible. And that is if you do your part 100%. I'm sure today, if you start playing your responsibility rightly, definitely your marriage is going to be heaven on earth. Try it and see. I'm waiting for your testimony.